We saw JimRising do that in the ZVP between Zeal. Even though that is ZVP, he's still got it in his back pocket and may do something of that one base play. Cactus Valley, we're loading in on it. Any predictions to end this up? JimRising looked pretty darn good in game one.
Yeah, JimRising just looked like a few steps ahead of ByRada in every step of that game. It was pretty even, but JimRising always knew how to get an edge. So unless we see some innovative play from ByRada, or maybe a mistake from JimRising, I'm thinking JimRising might take this 2-0.
I agree with you. I think JimRising may be able to do that, but let's do damn introductions. Up here in the top left-hand corner, it is the blue Zerg player representing Venezuela. Put your hands together for ByRada.
And in the bottom right, we have the red Zerg player coming from Mexico. From Endurance Esports, it is JimRising.
Yes, the lovely red player in the bottom right. Well, we'll see what goes down. This is cross-spawn positions, obviously, meaning that they will have a little bit extra macro time. One bases may not be quite as viable, as you said, Kaboosh. It may kind of take your opponent off guard. See if that goes down still in the early stages. And
Yeah, both players looking to go for macro-oriented openings. Actually, as I say that, ByRada's taking a gas. Is he's
That's 14-14. It may very well be here. We'll see. Yeah. There it is. It will be,
Looks like
I guess,
it.
technically 15-14, but
Close enough.
will be very aggressive. Well, at least JimRising again will be opening up with that pool first into hatch, and will provide him a little bit of leeway. And with the cross spawn positions, it may end up going quite solidly towards JimRising, favoring that 2-0 prediction that you mentioned, Kaboosh. But we'll have to see.
Yeah. We have to see how hard ByRada's going to commit to this. You can just get 100 gas for speed and pull out, or in ZVZ you can go for the more aggressive option and get the Bailing Nest and just try to end the game really quickly. So we'll see how much gas he decides to mine.
I agree. It'll be to see when ByRada pulls out. He's got 100 now, and there's the pullout. So just getting it for metabolic boost. Will be pushing across the map, maybe taking a natural off the back of it. And I think JimRising may be able to defend with that pool first. He should have lings out. He should at least have some queens. 8 lings on the way for JimRising, while 6 on the way for ByRada. I feel like JimRising's got this. And even though he doesn't have metabolic boost, he just does not want to be caught out in the middle of the map, Kaboosh.
Yeah, that's the thing here is with these 8 lings, if he's still out on the map when speed finishes, ByRada's just going to get those for free pretty much. And that can snowball really hard in favor of ByRada.
It can definitely snowball, and JimRising has to be very, very careful about this. And it's pretty darn aggressive. Normally you will see kind of the Zerg players stutter their lings to have 1 or 2 in the lead with the other ones behind it for exactly that purpose, Kaboosh, so they can retreat. And ling speed's almost done here. JimRising thinking he'd be the aggressive one, while ByRada, yeah, JimRising knows he's got to get the heck out of dodge right there, and he should know that that wasn't a pool first, and metabolic boost is on the way, and these lings are kind of just forsaking themselves in the middle of the map.
And that was a really early scout here from JimRising that there was some aggression coming, because now he had 20 seconds upon seeing the Zerglings before speed's done. So he's going to have time to produce lings at home, maybe make a spine crawler. Though I don't see one yet.
No spine crawler for JimRising, but he'll need something to defend this. Yes, he has 2 queens, but only 8 lings versus 20. The 8 lings did just pop, and they may be able to turn the tide of battle right here, but with speed, they're so much better. No metabolic boost coming out of JimRising, literally just gas being mined, but still none on the way. He's at 145 gas. You can see up at the top right. Maybe he was going to try to survive off Roachborn or something. There's metabolic boost, but I think it's just a little bit too late, Kaboosh. It's getting dicey.
Yeah. We have the Bailing Nest from ByRada behind this, and he put back into gas, so with speed Zerglings and Banelings against just slow Zerglings from JimRising, and no static D, this is going to be really hard for JimRising to hold on here.
Definitely without any static defense, it's going to be hard, especially with the natural base. Like, you only have 1 drone down there. JimRising isn't even ahead drone-wise against his opponent, and ByRada making that one baneling, but just pulling back off the back. This, he's even got a spine crawler back at his base. He realizes how much ahead he is and is really taking an advantage in this game early on.
Yeah, it doesn't look like ByRada's actually going to push his aggression here with the baneling nest. He's droning behind this, getting further ahead. And it's going to be up to JimRising here to play from behind, maybe try and sneak in some damage. He got that really nice baneling connection last game. Maybe he'll try to do something similar this one.
Being aggressive with those banelings, you can get some really nice hits. For now, though, he is slightly behind, as you mentioned, Kaboosh. And actually, though, that one baneling of ByRada, so close to getting a huge kill. Sadly, we'll just go off on that one drone. All those lings could have gone down if JimRising wasn't careful, and that may be something JimRising tries to do, but in Game 1, we did see ByRada with just maybe not the better, but more constant small ling harassment, which really got to JimRising sometimes and did allow ByRada to stay in the game for a very long time. So I think overall ByRada's got that kind of department covered, and it's going to be hard for Jim to come back. We'll still see, though.
So we see a much faster lair from JimRising here. He's still on one gas, however. Oh, he just took another 3 gases. So he is going to go into mutas again, more than likely, and we see the Roach Horn here from ByRada. So we're going to see the Mutaverse Roach battle.
Well, man, it will be Mutaverse Roach, and definitely if you can get the Muta Cloud high, they will overpower those Roaches, but still, we'll have to see how that all culminates together. Baneling kills itself. Sorry, kills its brethren, sadly, right there, but still, it's going back and forth. ByRada, currently out on the map, he does have 26 lings to the only 9 of JimRising, but JimRising is relying off this one baneling. He desperately needs to survive, and has even on its own hotkey, trying to be really careful right here. JimRising looking like he will hold for now, but still, from the beginning, he was not only down on workers, but he's been down in lings, and he's just playing from a slightly behind position here. There's the Spire, and it looks like he can try to bank off that, but ByRada scouts it, I think. Yeah, ByRada does.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what ByRada's plan is here, though. His gases are super late. He actually just canceled one of them. He just made 8 roaches, but these roaches are super late. By the time they get across the map, the Spire will probably be done. And 8 roaches really isn't a whole lot that a Ling player can't deal with, especially with like a spine crawler to support. So
Definitely,
I'm not sure,
you can get some good surrounds.
yeah, I'm not sure how well this attack will fare for ByRada, but he's on a clock again because once the Spire finishes for JimRising, he's going to have complete map control with these mutas.
ByRada only mining off of 2 extractors right here, so he's not going to have full 3 extractor roach pushes that he would be able to in other games, and he is also making a lot of banelings, so not completely committing to the roaches, just providing a little bit buffer against the banelings, maybe some kind of a shield, a little bit like the Herc was almost, I wish the Herc was still in the game, sadly, but JimRising will have a much better defense. He's at his 3rd base, and now JimRising has given him basically he's given himself all the possibilities for the future. Now the baneling hits could be huge right there, but JimRising has given himself all the future tools, and all he needs to hold is for like a minute and a half, and he's going to be in a fine position. And it's looking slightly dicey. 10 meters on the way. The roaches of ByRada completely overcome. The spine goes down, and only 3 meters out will not be enough. Desperately, JimRising, he needs to wall off his natural base and to somehow hold. There's so many lings right here for ByRada, though. Instead of going for a 3rd and Aspire, he's swelled with lings.
28 drones have been killed by ByRada in this game, and the lings are getting into the main base and killing all the drones here. Up to 31. Some 5 spores going down at home for ByRada. So he knows all he has to do is hold on here because he's massively ahead economy-wise.
3rd base, though, was sniped by JimRising. Thankfully, his Spire survived, so both of his investments have paid off, or at least one of his investments, and that's all you really need here. JimRising is going to push out in the middle of the map, and ByRada just side swipes it, or actually goes around with his own lings. ByRada taking his 3rd base, and the mutas of JimRising, they need to be decisive, even though they're pulling back to defend. I'd rather just have JimRising push out a couple extra queens and hold, while his own mutas did the harassment. For now, he's just going to be doing cleanup duty for a very long time, because lings are going to keep flooding across the map for ByRada.
Yeah, there's just really no answer to this huge ling count here from ByRada. The mutas have to come home and defend. Mutas are not the best at killing lings, so they're just gonna keep JimRising back on his end of the map. Meanwhile, ByRada can tech up. There is no Wait, did his lair get sniped? ByRada's? I could have sworn he was making a lair earlier, but his lair is just now finishing. There's no hydras on the way for quite some time.
No, it was just kind of an awkward roach. Like, he didn't even throw into roaches. He was only on 2 gas for a very long time. Never got up to a third. He's on a third now, but nothing mining of it, so it's a very kind of awkward thing to do.
Yeah, 1 spore here defending the third base. JimRising choosing not to try to kill that. Spores do kill mutas very quickly. Just poking in, seeing what damage he can get done. But ByRada very well defended with all these spores.
JimRising essentially deciding right here, you know what, screw the third base, I'm going to be aggressive here, and will manage to pick off a couple things, but again, ByRada, he's got it down. It's his priority is always these tiny little ling harassments, and he's been doing it so well. There's the GG, 1-1 in this best of 3. Going to game 3, ByRada takes game 2. Any thoughts on that last game? I felt like JimRising was just behind for a very long time, Kaboosh.
Yeah, that one attack right before the mutas popped ended the game. He had a really short window to hit, and he hit it perfectly. He got those perfect baneling hits on the spine and all of the zerglings of JimRising, and just was able to flood in with all of his lings and roaches and just do crippling economic damage.